Yo, what's going on guys? Arekkz here and welcome back to another Division video and another episode of What's It Saying. Some of you guys may know this, some of you may not, but yesterday I was over in Malmo going hands-on with the Division and I figured it's now time to answer the all-important question. In this video, I'm going to give you my impressions of the game. And while I'm talking to you, I'm going to put some gameplay in the background. This is stuff that I recorded while I was in Malmo, and this is of a higher level mission. They bumped us up to level 20, they gave us all the skills, all the talents, all the perks, everything was unlocked. We got to try out some really cool stuff, so that will be predominantly what you're seeing in the background. I will cut in some different things when I'm talking about different things like the Dark Zone and stuff, but for the time being, enjoy the gameplay and let's talk. So, to begin with, let me start by saying the game is really, really good. Honestly, this is probably the most fun I've had in a video game in the past 2, maybe 3 years, and I've played a lot of games. I've played a lot of games. You guys may know if you're on this channel, I cover things like Destiny, Monster Hunter, I cover pretty much all big games when they come out, and honestly, the Division, like the short time I had yesterday and the time I had playing the Alpha, is the most fun I have had in a very, very long time. So if you guys are worried, you're thinking, oh, you know, is this game going to turn out well? Sure, I haven't played the whole game, sure, I haven't got to the end game, sure, I can't necessarily tell you everything there is to know, but from what I have played so far, I am really, really impressed. Like, it feels really, really good. It is fundamentally a third-person tactical RPG shooter. So for those of you guys that are coming over from, say, shooters, you need to know that it is also an RPG. So it's not Call of Duty Time to Kill. You're not going to be shooting someone and one-shotting them if you shoot them in the head, nor are you going to be throwing grenades and killing people instantly. But I think the game definitely feels really good. It has a really good balance. It definitely has the really kind of tactile feeling of a kind of like third-person cover-based shooter, but it's also really nicely interwoven with the RPG element. So in order to be really effective in the game, you need to make the most of both of those things. Gun skill is always going to be super important. You know, if you can't aim, you can't shoot, you're still going to struggle, but at the same time, for the people that like to spend time min-maxing, the people that like to spend sort of time grinding out for that gear, getting that RNG stuff, that will also put you in an advantage. So in short, the game feels really good to play. I've always been a massive fan of third-person shooters, partly because I like to be able to look around corners before I go around a corner. Call that cheating. Either way, it's a lot of fun, but also just because I like looking at my character. Ultimately, if you're playing an RPG, you invest time in your character, you get cool weapons, you get cool armor, you get cool like, aesthetic gear. You want to be able to see yourself. You don't want to be in first person and never see it unless you walk and look past like a window or something. But either way, yes, the game feels really good. So for those of you guys wondering, or those of you guys on the fence, honestly, just place your pre-order now. Like, the beta has been announced. It's the 28th of January for Xbox One, the 29th for PS4 and PC. It is a pre-order beta, but if you're in it, then it will just give you the chance to see for yourself just how good this game is. But taking a step back for a minute, let's talk about something that is obviously a hot topic for a lot of people. People keep on talking about this downgrade. Now, let me tell you one thing right now, the game looks absolutely outstanding. I mean, seeing this kind of game run on Xbox One is really, really impressive, and that's amplified by when you get these really cool weather effects. I mean, there are some scenarios where you'll be walking down the street and it'll be, you know, it'll be dark, it'll be foggy, it'll be snowing. It's so hard to see, and it really adds to the atmosphere. Especially if you're walking through the dark zone, you know, you can never trust what's around the corner. You can't trust other people. If your visibility is also limited, it just really makes things quite tense, but at the same time, it just looks outstanding. There are some streets where you'll walk down and like the sun will be shining through, and it just goes to show how impressive this game really looks. So for those of you guys worrying about this downgrade or whether it still looks good, honestly, just look at the video. I mean, I uploaded it in 1080p, so hopefully this gives you guys an idea, but yeah, it is a really stunning looking game. If I had to pick out a single thing and talk about what my favourite aspect is, I'm probably going to say the Dark Zone. Like, I think I spent a lot of time playing the Dark Zone in the alpha, but talking about what I just played, it is just a really, really fun environment. Like, going rogue feels really good. I know people are probably going to hate on me for saying that. It's just a really cool feeling. I used to play World of Warcraft on a PvP server, so I am no stranger to walking around and getting like killed out of nowhere, or similarly walking around and seeing like a low-level alliance player and be like, I'm going to take you out. But the really cool thing about the Dark Zone is that they don't incentivize you to go rogue. There's no sort of like signpost saying, you know, you should definitely kill this player. In fact, it's the complete opposite. I mean, ultimately, when you're a rogue, you stand to lose a lot more than you gain. You know, if you're a rogue and you survive your own rogue timer, you get your bounty. But that's not really a massive thing. You're not going to be suddenly like going around killing players, making loads of money just simply by surviving. Ultimately, going rogue is a very risky thing. Like, if you want to do it, that's cool, it's fun. But personally, in my opinion, you're not really going to be going rogue to necessarily gain anything. It's more just sort of like a fun aspect of the game. You actually stand to make a lot more simply by being friendly, you know, taking out NPCs, killing other rogue agents. Killing rogue agents, in fact, is a really good way to level up and also gain money, XP, and items. But either way, it is just such a cool feeling because you get different levels of rogue. So, you know, you shoot someone, you go rogue rank 1, you keep killing other people, you go up, and once you get to rogue rank 5 and you've got the yellow circle, the radius in which people can see you is pretty damn big. So people do start hunting you down. You've got to survive for a whole 5 minutes. If you start killing more people, your timer pauses. And it gets super tense, especially if you've got a skill like Pulse. You pop Pulse and suddenly you see like markers for all the other players around. You see that you're being chased. It's just a really, really awesome feeling. And I think one of the things I love about that is it almost reminds me of, if ever you've seen some of those like DayZ videos where people will like hold someone up and they'll like, you know, talk to them and be like, you know, dance or give me your gear or something like that. It's just like, it gives me that sort of like feeling, and they're the sort of things that I want to start doing in the Dark Zone. And speaking of which, the game does have proximity voice chat. If you are not in an Xbox Live party, but you're actually using game chat and you walk up to someone, you'll see the orange sort of like audio lines. You can basically walk up to someone, and as long as you are within proximity, you can speak to them in game. So you could actually walk up and say, hey, I'm friendly, I don't want trouble, leave me alone please, and then walk away. So that is also a really good way to let you communicate. Also, on a super quick side note to answer one of the really important, really burning questions, yes, you can still close car doors. Now, aside from that, a couple of things I do want to sort of touch on super quickly. Microtransactions, I did actually speak to the devs about that. They assured me that microtransactions will only be aesthetic gear. There is a customization tab on your character where you can basically throw additional gear on top of you. It's not the stat-based gear, it literally just changes the way you look. And that is the sort of stuff they'll be selling. They won't be selling anything that gives you an advantage in the game. They won't be selling power or anything like that. So for those of you guys that worried about microtransactions, you do not need to worry. I said before that I am a fan of microtransactions if they're done the right way, and this is the right way. If you can just buy customization gear, then it doesn't matter if you don't buy it because it doesn't impact your experience in the slightest. But for those people that do want to do it, i.e. me, I want to go and buy something that not necessarily everyone else has got, then that option is there. Last couple of things I want to touch on, mainly Endgame. I did go to the event with a load of questions from people on Reddit, loads of questions from people on Twitter, hoping to try and get some answers. Unfortunately, Endgame is one of those things they don't necessarily want to talk about. I wouldn't necessarily say that's a worrying thing. Take a look at like Bungie, for example. They never talk about Destiny's Endgame before an expansion comes out. Endgame is one of those things they do typically like to keep quite close to their chest. But unfortunately I wasn't able to get any answers on that, so I'm not really sure, aside from the whole gear min-maxing RNG sort of like collection based game, I'm not entirely sure what the Division's endgame has in store for us. But from what I gathered, at least speaking to the devs about it, I think they're confident that the endgame will have stuff to offer. So I think it's safe to say that it's not just going to be trying to get the best gear and then just going into the Dark Zone. I think there is other stuff they've got lined up for us, we're just going to have to wait and see. The final thing I want to say just before I wrap up this video is I have loads and loads of footage. Over the next coming days, in fact, up until the beta, I plan to have a Division video every single day on this channel because I've got plenty of footage to go through, so that's going to give you guys something to watch on a regular basis. But I want you guys to try and dictate what I do next because I've got ideas for, 20 videos or whatnot. And while I could upload them in the order that I think you guys want to watch them, ultimately I'd rather upload them in the order that you want to watch them. So what I've actually done in the description box down below is I've put a straw poll which has a list of some of the next videos that I was going to make. So if you guys can vote on that and basically let me know what you most want to see next, then I'll aim to have some of those videos up over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, and then I'll obviously do some more going into next week. Either way, that is pretty much it. That was just a super quick chance for me to sort of like talk about some of my impressions, what I thought about the game, and some of the other questions you may have had. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions or just sort of like with your thoughts in general. And also let me know what you thought about the gameplay as well, because there's some really cool stuff in there. But aside from that, thank you very much for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.